Okay, the last panellist to speak to you is Minnie Baragwanath, and Minnie is CEO of the Be Accessible, who has a huge passion for a more accessible world for all people. And since the Canterbury Quakes, many leaders, both business and community, locally, nationally, even internationally, have seen an opportunity here in Christchurch for there to not only become accessible, but to actually lead the way in terms of what access can mean for a city in the 21st century. This is about more than the physical environment. This is about innovation, design, and the kind of communities we want for our future. And a truly accessible city is about great leadership and great vision. I'm not sure if Minnie's going to set the dogs on a certain man in a turquoise suit after his address to us this morning and his references to accessibility. But she's going to speak to us now. Minnie.
Okay, I feel like I'm in a race or something this morning, so I'll probably talk quite quickly. Look, wonderful to be here, and I don't know why I have to say this, but I'm based in Auckland, so I guess I'm coming with a perspective of arriving into Christchurch and Canterbury, and just some observations, I guess, from that perspective. What I want to say first up is that what I'm not going to talk to you about is compliance and the building code, so I just want to park that to one side. What I'm interested in is a vision, and it's a vision of what access can actually mean for a city and for a country. I have a huge passion for Christchurch because as someone who at 15 was told she was partially blind, well, I mean, in fact, I still am partially blind, that didn't change, I went off to university and found that I wasn't going to be able to read my books and study and get a career and all the things I wanted to do. However, there was the most amazing company here in Christchurch called Polstata that became Humanware, that was a world leader in technology for people who are blind and vision impaired. And they basically cornered the entire global market around that technology. That is about innovation. That is access as innovation and thinking about a diverse, changing demographic around us. Quick story. Having gone and got my education, I then got a job, which was also quite exciting because a lot of blind women don't get jobs, or certainly not good ones. And this particular job took me to New York, and I got to meet with the most amazing man over there called John Hockenberry. John is one of America's top broadcasters, an amazing guy who uses a wheelchair. John, when I interviewed him, told me this great story that when he went to India, it was the first time that he didn't feel disabled. Really interesting. Why was that? The infrastructure in India doesn't work for anyone. The roading, the systems, the water, everything else. So for the first time in his life, he felt on a level playing field. And in some ways, it's not the same, but I sort of think, is that some of what's happened here in Christchurch and Canterbury? That experience of a truly deeply disabling environment has impacted everybody. People with disability and older people and parents getting around with pushchairs every day, no matter where they are, face those challenges of accessing transport, getting in and out of buildings, getting education, buying food down at the shop, getting the technology in a form that you can use. It's only recently I've been able to get a cell phone I can actually use that reads out loud the text that I get and things like that. So why wouldn't we, when we're rebuilding and thinking about the future of Christchurch and Canterbury, not only build a fully accessible city, because we know what it's like for it not to be accessible for everyone, but actually take it further and think, what edge might that give us in terms of that next 100 years? I think it was Roger was talking about the fact that what we build today, it's not for the next 5 or 10 years, it's for the next 100 years. And some of the statistics, I'm not sure where I'm meant to point this actually. Oh, there we go, perfect. Some of the statistics around that, which I'll just jump through this, are incredibly compelling. So we know that we have a rapidly ageing global population, and as we age, we gain impairments. It's a fact of life. Disability is not just about that small percentage who might use a wheelchair or a motorised scooter or whatever it might be. That group is hugely important, but we're actually talking about every single person in this room. And if not today, in 10 or 20 or 30 years' time. By 2030, 25% of New Zealanders will be over the age of 65. That's a massive demographic shift. And the access needs change as we age. We don't call ourselves disabled. I can think of my mother, who's 70-something now. TV is up so loud, you know, I ring her and she's yelling down the phone at me, but she wouldn't call herself disabled. She can hear perfectly. You know, some days she struggles to get to the letterbox and back. It's ageing. It's part of who we are as humans. So how are we thinking about that when we're designing our cities? One of the things we're also really aware of is that economic development for New Zealand, and I guess for Christchurch and Canterbury, is closely linked to tourism as well. So what are the opportunities if we're thinking about accessibility through an economic lens for this city? Baby boomers make up the largest group of people living with disability now. They're the biggest group who are travelling and spending. They have the highest discretionary spend of any group. This is when I start to sound like David Bellamy. They often travel in groups of 3 or 4. And if one member of that group cannot get in and access your business, you're losing not just one customer, but potentially 3 or 4. So what's the opportunity? I keep getting asked about things like the building code and that desire by government potentially to make access requirements exempt from buildings that have been renovated, whatever the word is, there's a technical term that I've just completely forgotten. I'm sure everyone in the room knows it. But essentially rebuilt and built up to code. Why is that even a question? If this is our future demographic, if this is our future tourism market, if this is where innovation for a rapidly ageing global population is taking us, why aren't we thinking about this as an opportunity? Let's not take the old road to heaven, as we saw earlier, but what's the new innovative road that we can be taking? And Christchurch and Canterbury has already demonstrated incredible leadership in terms of thinking about access. There's some wonderful work happening with through the Anchor projects, ensuring that accessibility is included. But it's so much more than the built environment. It's how we think about ourselves as a community, as a culture, in terms of economic development. How am I going for time? Oh my God, that's brilliant. I might have even got there faster than I meant to. Oops, backwards. And one of the things we've talked a lot about at Be Accessible, where I have the great fortune to work, is this idea of the yellow dollar, the access economy. And it's not language or framing that is used widely yet, because actually we coined the phrase, and that's the beauty of innovation. But it's actually thinking about the value we can generate for ourselves as a city and as a region that benefits everyone. It's time to stop thinking about just the cost up front, and like Alex said, actually the cost of creating accessible buildings and spaces is on the whole no greater than if you don't include it. It's about that upfront thinking. But then right across the board to how welcome we make all our visitors feel, all those cruise ships that will be coming through Lyttelton into Canterbury, how welcome are they? We know that about 5 million visitors come through the Christchurch airport every year. I think it's more than that actually now. And if we just take 20% of those, that could be 1 million visitors each year with some kind of access need that we could be better serving. We assessed the Christchurch airport recently and they got a gold rating. It's an exceptional building, an experience for people. But we've got to stop thinking about access as just about the built environment. We can't forget it in the built environment, but think of it as a lens for creativity, innovation, and a different kind of future. Thank you.